And this is The In Show. And I'm your host, Gus Summers. Good to be back with you today. That's right. We are broadcasting live from our In Show studios in the entertainment capital of the world, Hollywood. And we have a great in-studio guest, Miss Carrie Beth Ann. Carrie, lovely to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
it's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, you took my word. I was going to say pleasure to have you. But
I stole it.
You did. I had to think of something else. My mind is, it's confused now. But as everyone knows, I just kind of go with the flow with the show. So we get what we get, because that's what I love about live. Do you enjoy live performances, live radio?
I do, yeah.
Do you really?
There's definitely a certain thrill about it. Anything can happen. It's very exciting.
There's something that just always drew me to like a live performance. Exactly for that reason, because it seems organic.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of go with it. Nothing planned, nothing really, will follow a certain pattern. It just goes where it goes.
Yeah.
What drew you to entertainment?
Well, it was theatre. I mean, I've always had a love of performing since a very, very young age. My sister and I used to put on performances in the living room for my parents, and I was very good at taking direction from a bossy older sister. So that was the thing that first got me starting. Always been a performer and perhaps a little bit of a drama queen, as my family will tell you. But when I was Cinderella,
yes,
8 years old, in a youth theatre production, and I just loved it. The rush of the audience and just the aspect of live theatre, like you're saying, anything can happen and things do change a little bit, and you've got to keep you on your toes, and it just grew from there, really.
I love when you're performing like theater and you forget the line.
Yes.
Line, prompt, anything, just
That's the one of the best bits and the worst bits as well. You have to really think on your feet when that happens, or when you see your scene partner forget their lines. They're just kind of giving you that look of like, oh. You have to fill in.
Give me something.
Exactly.
Something.
Help! Their eyes are screaming, help.
That glazed look, right?
Exactly. You have to improvise, certainly.
Whatever it takes for them to.
Yes.
And of course, the script reader in the back. What are they doing?
Where are they going? I didn't write this.
And it's so funny from film, cut. Let's do it again, and let's get it right. What do you mean? I'm improvising. I'm from that new school. I make it up.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the reasons we're having you here. I know you're in a film. It's going to be in a festival, Burbank Film Festival.
Yes, very excited.
Yeah,
about that.
How was that? Tell me a little bit about that project.
That was great. The film's called Chasing the Past. It's a science fiction. We've actually been nominated for Best Science Fiction Film, so that's extremely exciting. I'm very proud. It was a really wonderful experience working with them. The director, Jonathan Salemi, he was wonderful and a real pleasure to work with. And my scene partner, I play fiance to the leading man, who's played by Adam Marcinowski, and he's since become a great friend. There's just the certain bonding that happens on set, and it was really wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm happy for everybody to see it.
I love the camaraderie that you can build, when you're on a project.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, you end up being friends and you see each other, at parties and such. But there are a few times where you really connect.
Yeah, you
with,
do.
with some, your co-stars or
Mm-hmm.
some of the production people. How's that? So he's become a good friend of yours?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very. There was a certain moment in the film that it's very dramatic, and it you have to be kind of raw and open emotionally for that. So you have to really trust the people that you're working with. So it's great to build up that rapport, and that trust and that bond that you build on set just carries forward into day-to-day life, because you've experienced something with each other that nobody else has, and you've been through a certain thing with these characters and with each other on this journey to build this role.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to then carry that through. So it's great, and they're wonderful people. We were in Boston and for the film festival there as well, and we had a great time hanging out, and it was just me, Adam, and Jonathan, and they're really, really wonderful chaps. I loved hanging out with them.
It sounds like a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Boston, did you kind of resent being there? you know, being British, you know, we were.
Actually, I was very excited.
Oh,
I'd
were
never
you?
been to Boston
Okay.
before, so and Jonathan, the director, is from there, so
Oh, nice.
it was lovely being with him and his
Yeah.
family, and they kind of took me under their wing a little bit, and they showed us all around. It was really great and just very exciting, and that was the film's sort of USA premiere, so
Right.
that was great.
Oh, nice. Did he take
Yeah.
you to all the local little
We had his
establishments?
mum was driving us around, pointing things out. It was just lovely.
Did they become very American? You know, this is where, you know,
They-
us
that's what-
Americans.
yes. I really noticed
Yes.
that in Boston. They're very, very proud of where they're from. Perhaps like no other place I've been to. They're very proud to be from Boston. Very proud of their city.
And then did you start, you know, throwing back at them? Well, you know, the British.
In England,
In
we do it
England.
like this.
We
Yeah.
drink our tea like we still
Exactly.
drink tea.
I do pull Americans up on that sometimes.
That's great. I love it.
Proper way to say words as well.
Yeah. And your film, you know, what drew you? Is it science fiction? Do you enjoy science fiction, or
I-
was it just the story its whole thing?
Yeah, I do like science fiction. It wasn't ever something that I haven't been in a sci-fi film before, so it was really great to have that opportunity. But it was the story. What's great about this movie is it isn't just your typical science fiction film. It has a romance in there too, and it's a very hopeful story, and there's the love between the two main characters is very apparent, and it's a story that everybody can relate to, and there's a twist of nostalgia in there, and it kind of, you know, follows that theme that we all experience of what if I could just go back to the past and do things differently, and
Right.
you know, that's something that we can all relate to and connect to. So
Yeah.
that was the main thing that drew me, that it wasn't just sci-fi, it was that little twist.
Right. To go
So-
back, you when you were growing up, did you enjoy sci-fi, or is it, you know, just a genre like everybody? You know, you like dramas, you like action, you
Yeah.
like sci-fi.
Yeah,
kinda
I
like
like
that?
sci-fi. It wasn't ever my favorite genre. I was never really into sort of any other sci-fi movies, but
But if it was a good movie and had to be sci-fi.
yeah, I do watch everything. I do love it. I have to admit, I think I'm probably most of a fan of romantic comedies and period dramas.
Trivia pieces,
Yes,
Sense
I-
and Sensibility,
Oh, exactly.
and
Yes.
Emma.
I do love my period dramas.
That's great.
Yeah, but it was great to try something new and to
Yeah.
have that, and I'm very glad that I did, and it looks spectacular, so they did
Yeah.
such a fantastic job with that.
You know, with though I found that, you know, depending on the genre, you know, everyone approaches it differently. But it seems that, you know, even with sci-fi, the characters are still the same. They're still human, and
Yeah.
you know, the emotions and
Yeah.
connections. Was it the same sci-fi as with other films for you when you approach the character?
Oh, exactly the same way. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've everything I do when I do approach a new character is to find where I connect with them, and to find what I can relate to and what I've experienced, and how I can get to know them better. So I think that would stay the same if whatever I was playing. So it's to just to find the piece of me in that.
Right. Yeah. Because nowadays all the temp posts, and that's all there are. There are science fiction. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty much science fiction. It's aliens and
It
super
is.
strength. Well, that leads to just a question: if you could be in one of these tentpole movies, which character would you be?
Oh gosh.
Can you invent your own character? Was there a character that you've always liked? I've always liked, like, Silver Surfer. I always thought and they're coming out with a movie with him, so
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably invent my own
Nice.
character, maybe a hybrid of everything. I used to love, actually, growing up, watching Dungeons and Dragons, and there was
Yeah.
that character with the cloak where it could
Right.
disappear.
Yes.
So maybe I'd invent some character that had a bit of invisibility, and I'd have to be able to fly and swim underwater. I'd probably just
You always
be
have
a.
to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, flying's the cool thing.
It is.
It's funny because, you know, the whole Batman, Superman, you know, everyone always says, well, when I was a kid, I loved Superman, but as I grew older, I loved Batman.
Yeah.
And I still love Superman, and my thing is always, but Batman can't fly.
Exactly.
Superman can fly.
He has that cape where he can fall very gracefully, but it's not quite flying, is it?
That's right. You know, he's in a machine. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. I think I do prefer Superman. I think I'm more of a Superman girl.
Do you?
Yes.
Uh,
It's the flying. It wins it every time.
And one of the things, I love film, so I love, comparing, and I have the ability just to watch a film and not compare it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like Superman, it's hard not to compare
Yeah.
to some of the originals.
Yes, it is.
And I'm not talking about the 50 ones, like the ones with Christopher Reeve, the Richard Donner movies. They're fantastic.
They are. They're the classics.
Yeah, because you had Marlon Brando in the first one. Are there actors for you, talking about that draw you to a film? For instance, if I see when Gene Hackman was acting, when I saw Gene Hackman, he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite, Michael Caine.
Yeah.
I think Michael Caine is one of those actors that he just makes it shine just a little more. Are there certain actors that draw you?
Definitely. Meryl Streep, I have to say, is my absolute number one. Anything that she is in, I'll go and watch. And I always feel like I learn something as an actress just by watching her.
Yeah.
And I'll study her and I watch her perform and all the little nuances that she has. And she really, if every character she does she just really embodies the whole aspect of the character, and it's fantastic. I actually saw her in theatre once in New York, and I slept in Central Park all night to see her in the theatre in the park to get my ticket, and it was incredible. It was when I was at drama school there, and the whole experience, the second she came on stage, I just cried, and she was just magnificent. And she actually forgot her line, that performance.
Did she really?
And it was all so wonderful as
was
well.
Was she just looking around?
And she got a bit of the giggles, and it was fantastic to see, because I was like, even the greatest actress and the woman I look up to like no other, she can pull it off, and it made me relax a little bit more as an actress and not put so much pressure on myself.
Right,
so
right.
Thank her for that.
They're human, just like me.
Exactly. It's funny that.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have I used to say, who's your top actress or actor, and now it comes down to you have the top 5. Makes it easier. But someone asks me that, I'm all, I can't answer that. I got to change my question.
I know. The top 5 is even tough. I mean, obviously Meryl Streep. Audrey Hepburn was.
Yeah. I love Katharine Hepburn as well. Yeah.
There's just, you think you have it, and then somebody else mentions someone, and you're like,
I got my list.
What about them too?
About 10.
I know. I love Leonardo DiCaprio as well.
Oh, nice.
I loved him since his early work, like What's Eating Gilbert Grape. And Johnny Depp's another fantastic one, and how he just does such great characters.
Right.
I really admire that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seem to follow a lot of the times the character actors. One of my favorites, F. Murray Abraham. I mean, he just from Amadeus. Well, before that, but there's a way they capture. I think there's more freedom in a character actor than the lead actor. You expect the lead actor always to be the same, and when they veer off, you're like, wait, no, you're not supposed to do that. But the character actor is like, he
has more freedom to play.
Yeah. I think that's great. Now, do you have the same balance of American actors as you do British actors that you enjoy? Judi Dench.
I love Judi Dench. I do have to
course.
stay true to my Brits. Yeah, I do love my fellow Brits.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I should ask you, what are your top 5 right there?
Gosh, that's a tough one. Judi Dench.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Keira Knightley's wonderful.
Keira Knightley. Okay.
Michael Caine, obviously.
Yeah, Michael Caine.
Gosh, who else would I pick? All of them. I don't know. Every single actor in Downton Abbey. I could not pick one.
Nice.
Maybe Maggie Smith. Maybe I could single her out.
Nice. Maggie Smith. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Steve Coogan. He won me over in Philomena. He was so wonderful in that.
I just saw a movie with him. Tour of Italy. Trip to Italy.
Oh, A Trip to Italy. I haven't seen that yet, but I did see the one he did with Rob Brydon prior to that. When they drove around England.
Okay, I didn't see that one. I got to screen this one, and it's they're making a big I don't want to say big deal, but there's a scene where they're in a restaurant and they're impersonating different actors, and they're going back and forth, and it's really great. Steve Coogan's he's a really great actor.
He is, yeah. It's funny, they did that in their first movie too. They do their Michael Caine impressions, and they practice, and they're seeing who can be the better at it. And
they were doing Al Pacino. So now I have to see the first one.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, that's good. I like it when movies do that, when they carry certain jokes through into a second one.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And How about you? If you had the opportunity to, be in a film that had one of your favorite stars, who would you like to be opposite? Male or female?
I would love to play opposite Meryl Streep.
Nice.
That's would be an absolute dream.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be in Downton Abbey. That would be everything about that show I love. And Maggie Smith, I think I'd love to play opposite her, because I imagine you could just learn so much from her.
Yeah.
She's very insightful, and she's got such a humor about her, and it's like an unexpected, elegant humor that I just love.
Absolutely. Do you enjoy a lot of the old movies as well?
Yeah, I do. I don't watch as many as I
Yeah.
tend to watch more of the current things to keep up with what's going on.
Sure,
But I do
sure.
enjoy watching some of the older ones,
okay.
especially Audrey Hepburn's movies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you said, elegance, and you see a lot of the actors, like for us, there's an actor, you probably heard of him, Bob Newhart. I think he's in his 80s now. He grew up basically in the same times as with Betty White. They have this timing, this manner about them,
Yeah.
that even in their 70s, 80s, they still capture that. I don't know what it is, that star quality about
Certain
that.
something, yeah.
Exactly. When it's, and you look for that. I tend to look for that.
Yeah.
Do you do the same thing? Look, what draws somebody?
Yes, definitely. I think it's good to have that certain quality about you that sets you apart from everybody else. So I
Yeah.
definitely look for that in other people.
Right.
And I think some of the actors from the older generation, they have something that we can definitely learn from, because it was a different era back then, and
Yeah.
the whole industry was different. And I think there is just something that they have that maybe we don't have, that it's good to watch and
Yeah.
try and
Well,
pinpoint what it is.
That's interesting. Do you, not that you're a historian, do you read about Hollywood? Do you read about actors' lives? I love to get books, and just I'm a reader as it is, but especially being in the industry, I love to find out about their lives, and
Yeah.
what made them. Is the last book I read was Robert Mitchum,
Oh.
and he was just this was the nice autobiography. Then you read the other ones and tell me how it really is.
Yeah.
But still, he had this big life, because if you look at him, he was such a grand actor. He was a singer. He had top #1 hit in country music. Big actor and such. That's fascinating. And he had. It's like Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman described his face one time as, I have a head of a potato, so I have no idea how I'm an actor. But we look at him, he's brilliant, he's fantastic. And here,
Yeah.
same with Robert Mitchum. You look at him, it's like, yeah, but there's something about you.
Yeah.
Have you done that with like Meryl Streep, looking to their lives, or just
I love
old Hollywood
reading
history? Yeah.
autobiographies.
Do you?
Yes, and I think that's fascinating, just to learn about how someone did get from A to B, because obviously you see them at a certain point now, and everybody sort of thinks it's so easy, and they always have the 10-year overnight success story, and it's great to kind of learn about the struggle that got people there, and to the jobs that people had prior to acting, and
Right.
and things that they've learned along the way, and the trials and the parts that they found difficult, and when they didn't get a part, and how they handled that. And it's really great to read that as an actor, especially just to relate to it, and to it again makes you feel a bit of comfort when you're having a bit of a down day. Oh, I didn't get that part maybe, and then you read an autobiography of someone you hugely admire, and you're like, oh, well, they didn't get every part. It is just the industry and the way it is, and it just makes you feel grounded and just happier about things. And I find them so interesting.
That's great, because we look at them, they're successful, and obviously they've been a lot way since the beginning, and then exactly right, you hear about, I almost gave up, I threw in the towel, but someone said don't, and here they are. So it seems the struggles are the same. That kind of encourages you as you learn that,
because it is a thing, and people do sometimes ask, would you ever give up? Is there an end point? And I don't feel that way with acting, and I think it is from hearing about other people's journeys, that they were at that point of like, should I give up? And then that one audition, that one day, and their life changed forever. And I think that's one of the most wonderful things about acting, is it's such a career filled with hope. You can wake up every day and be hopeful that this could be the day that my life is going to change. And I just think there's something so magical about that. And that just especially being here in LA and Hollywood, you just never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to come across, what the day's going to hold, what auditions you're going to get, and that's very exciting.
It was, exactly, you're one day maybe the worst, but the next day you may get that call, or that word of encouragement.
It can change in an instant.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it does, and it's funny. Like you might get an email one day which is makes you feel a bit like, oh, didn't get that, and then something else later that day, and it's like, oh wow, that's great, and it's just. It's a roller coaster, but it's definitely one I'm happy to be on.
Now, tell me your experience here in Hollywood, in the United States, versus Britain. But Britain has their award shows. They have BAFTA. We have the Academy. All these different things. Tell me about your experience with those.
Well, I'm very proud that I'm a member of BAFTA here in LA, which has been really wonderful. I do love connecting to my fellow Brits. That's really great, and a lot of my friends are British out here, because there is a difference in the whole attitude. The industry is different. It was quite a learning experience when I first came out here to understand how America works versus how London worked. So it's been great to have the guidance of organizations like BAFTA to learn more about it all. And it's great to always vent your frustrations as well, to be like, oh, I was somewhere and I wanted to order water and they couldn't understand me and I had to say water. And
does I say water?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Tomato and tomato. It's good to kind of vent out those frustrations with people that understand, and to just go around and be able to call the trash the bin for once.
Yeah, exactly. And call the hood of the car a
the
bonnet.
boot and the bonnet. Yeah.
And they understand what you're talking about.
They do. You don't have to, you don't get that blank stare.
I joke with a lot of people, when they say, I'm going to go to London, and, I tell them, now remember, they speak English.
Yes.
We speak American. Though we call it English, we speak American. And unless they actually try, you will not understand them.
Yeah.
And they won't understand you. So remember, English and American. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's true, isn't it? I go, yes. They just make the effort when they're all to speak the way we do.
Yeah, and I think as well, we grew up a lot more in England listening to, watching American TV. I think that made the transition easier when I was growing up anyway. So you were familiar with the way that Americans say things, and we would, joke about it, and you just knew. And coming over here, though, I mean, it's different now because we have such fantastic shows coming out of England right now that are really helping to expose British TV out here. But there was a time when there wasn't that much maybe coming over here, where it was only available on certain networks, so it was harder to see. So maybe Americans haven't been as exposed to our lingo.
Yeah, very what's the word? My mind's going blank. Isolationist. We're very isolated.
You have such great TV in America, so
Thank you.
There is such great TV and film.
Do you think there's been a decline in television, American television?
I don't actually. I think TV is extremely strong right now, especially with shows coming out. HBO is doing wonderful things, and there's a lot of big-name actors that are actually transitioning into television, which is really great to see.
Yeah.
So I think TV is producing a lot of really wonderful things. Yeah, I think it could be the way forward.
Now, what do you think about the internet? A lot of things are happening on the internet now.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I think that's great. It gives you more freedom to put out your own kind of content, and there's a lot more availability. There are so many different channels out there where you can produce things, and you can do things on a smaller budget. You can make smaller little webisodes and things. So I think the internet is becoming a really great platform to expose talent.
Have you had a chance? Were you interested in doing anything like that? Have you had
I've done a little guest star stuff on some web series. I would like to do more and produce my own, and I would definitely like to do more documentary, and maybe the way forward to put it out there will be through the internet. So
fantastic. Yeah, then it's seems like it's a Wild West, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get what you get, and that's probably a perfect format for us.
Yeah, that's true.
See, well, wonderful. Carrie, thanks for taking the time. I got to take a quick commercial break. It's that
course.
moment. But, thank you for sharing. We still got another
you.
segment so we can talk about,
Fabulous.
all your upcoming projects and everything. I'm excited.
That sounds good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Sure, absolutely. Hey, well, this is Gus Summers, and you've been listening to The In Show. And we have in-studio guest, Miss Carrie Bethan, and we've been talking about her career and her upcoming movie, and we're going to be talking a lot more segments. You hang in there? We'll be right back. And this is The In Show. I'm your host, Gus Summers. Good to be back with you today. That's right. We are broadcasting live from the entertainment capital of the world, Hollywood, from our in-show studios on the Sunset Strip. And we have a great in-studio guest, Miss Carrie Bethan. You're so delightful.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're so chipper and, and happy. Well, it must be from a happy childhood and happy career and everything.
Yeah, I did have a happy childhood, and I have great family backing and wonderful sisters and a brother. My mom is my biggest cheerleader, so I think having that grounding, and have some fabulous lifelong friends that I've had since I was sort of 2 and 5 back in England that I'm
Really?
still connected with, and I think
Is-
that's really great.
Really?
Yeah.
Like they were neighbors and you just kept in touch all these years?
Yeah, our mothers were friends of one girl that I'm still very good friends with. She's one of my nearest and dearest. Our mums were friends, so we've
Yeah.
kind of known each other since we were 2, I think. And
Wow.
we would go to tumble tots together.
Tumble tots.
I know. And playgroup. And then from infant school, from 4 and 5, friends that I met there that I'm still friends with now.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
wonderful to have, such long life childhood friends like that go with you and experience all these wonderful things with you.
Yeah, it's great, and they'll always tell you, when something you've done's great, and they'll be the first ones to tell you when you
When you're
messed up.
wrong. And they're probably the only ones you take it from, really, because
Yeah.
it comes from their heart.
Exactly, I trust them
Yeah.
implicitly. Like, especially my sister, she's my go-to person for things like that.
Really?
She'll always tell me straight when I've done something good or bad.
Right away, right?
Yeah.
They seem to do that, don't they?
They
You
do.
did. No, I didn't. And then you stop talking to them for a day or two.
You know they're right. It's really annoying. Damn it.
But then you wait for your moment.
Yeah. That's true. Payback.
That's right.
Yeah, I
But
certainly had those moments growing up.
Did you? It's funny because I always think about how, parents. You talk about kids who have siblings, and they say you always wait for the moment when you're like your dad. If you have a little brother or someone, and your dad finally says, "You know what? Get him," and you're like, "Oh yeah!"
I don't know if I ever had my parents say
Sorry,
that, but yeah.
you can see I have male siblings. So,
No.
when you now that you're out here and when you're going through your struggles and everything, call family, call your friends, obviously.
Yeah, I call my sister and my mum. Thank goodness for Skype and FaceTime. I don't know how I would cope without those.
Right.
So it's great whenever there's a tough time to just get on the computer and have some FaceTime with them. And
Yeah.
there's
That's
a couple of
nice.
people, some of my best friends back home that I'll go
Yeah.
to and connect with straight away. Yeah, and they bring me back down, and
Do
they're great cheerleaders. So, and always
Take
remind me
you up
why
there,
I'm
take you
here.
down to Benning
Yeah,
Oak?
exactly. They will. They keep me grounded or pump me up, whichever I need.
Yeah. So now that you've been out here, have you found some favorite spots to get away? Like when you need some quiet time, do you go like for a hike? Do you go to the
Yes.
beach? Do you?
Both. I absolutely
Yeah.
love hiking.
Yeah.
Actually went on a hike this morning with my sister and my little puppy dog,
Really?
Bella. Love her. We were up Runyon Canyon this morning.
Were you really?
That's great. I'd love to go up there and
Yeah.
just looking out over LA. Just
Yeah.
for me, it just makes me feel very, very centered, and it just reminds you why you're here. It's
Right.
good to tap back into to everything and to see the beauty of nature. And there's something about the ocean as well. I love to go down to the ocean. I love Malibu and Venice Beach, and
Venice,
to just sit on
yeah.
the sand and look out at the sea and
Yeah.
the sea is just so unknown, but it's so beautiful, and
Yeah.
I find that about the future and about this career. It is so unknown, but yet
Right.
it's so beautiful, and I love to just tap into nature.
Yeah, I love Venice. I was just down there with a friend of mine, and just walking. Just love taking pictures.
Yeah.
Take a few pictures. Click.
Yeah.
It's a. There's just something. Yeah, everyone knows. There's just something about it. It's different. Besides
So
being just
eclectic down there, yeah.
then you can just be, I don't know, yourself, and
You can. No judgment.
exactly.
It's
Very
very
right.
different from Hollywood.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Very real.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They don't
No, it
care,
doesn't.
and you meet some great people down there.
You do.
Yeah.
I've had some wonderful chats, just
Walking.
speaking to all the people and their selling on all the different
Yeah,
stalls.
uh-huh.
And I just strike up conversations with
Yeah.
people. It's so interesting to hear people's stories.
Yeah. Are you very gregarious? You seem very gregarious. Or is it you kind of work at it? You have to be.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
Because, I could see you walking up to a vendor and asking them questions and, just striking up a conversation.
I do. I
and-
like to chat to people. I love
do?
people. And I think maybe I moved to LA by myself. So I think you have to just
Yeah.
strike up conversation with people. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'd probably still be on my own in my apartment with no friends.
No.
So I traveled by myself when I was 19 as well. And I think
did you?
that taught me so much
Yeah.
as well about having to just talk to anybody. Otherwise,
Right.
you'd be alone.
Yeah.
You have that choice: be on your own or chat to
You're
someone
right.
new.
Yeah, very nice. Did you travel in England? Did you
No,
go to
I
Europe?
went to Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Just a little trip like everyone takes at
I was
18,
gone
19?
I went on my 19th birthday. I got on a plane and went, and I did some voluntary work in Australia for the first 6 weeks that I was there with
Yeah.
a GAP organisation over there, and then I just travelled
Oh.
and met fantastic people that I'm
Yeah.
still in touch with now. So
Really?
just a couple years on.
Yeah.
So.
That's right. It was just like last year.
Yeah.
Understand, I only graduated like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
so
Me too.
done, thanks. So did you plan to go on to help out with that organization?
Yes, that one
Okay.
was planned, and I thought it would be a good thing to have that set up for when I went.
Right.
Just to,
A little springboard.
yeah,
to
because
what
it
you
was a
wanted
bit
to do.
daunting for me going to the other side of the world, and
Yeah,
it
right.
was somewhere I could just go straight into. And I'm glad I did, because I met so many people that I met up with along the way, especially in Australia.
Yeah.
I could catch back up with them. So, and
very
it was
nice.
nice to just go and immediately have a purpose and to get just acclimatized to where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you just traveled a bit. And when you came here, did you just come and, got an apartment and just started hitting the pavement? Or did you had some friend relations?
No, I came out here first of all knowing no one and to do an acting course, and I was extremely fortunate with that. It was one of these showcase type things, and I got signed with an agency straight away through that. So that was extremely lucky, and it was kind of what dictated me, because I wanted to move to New York after drama school, and I was told by a casting director there, oh, you should go to LA. That's because I wanted to do film and TV. Go to
Right.
LA. That's where it is. And I came out here on a 2-week holiday thinking I would hate it. Loved it instantly, and it all kind of fell into place, and I was signed to an agent. I ended up staying for 3 months in total, just to kind of meet with people and finalize things for my visa, and then I went back to England for a couple of months and came back I think 5 months later I was living here, and I knew one person, my friend Brooklyn, and I moved in with her.
English? American?
No, she's American.
Yeah, okay.
We actually met on a retreat in Mexico, so not even anything to do with the acting. But she's still a very
That's
good friend
great.
of mine now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is she an actress or?
No, she's not. She's a dancer and nutritionist.
Oh,
and,
okay.
her and her husband have a
Oh,
dog
wow.
business. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Zen dog. My dog goes there.
Really?
Yeah, keeping it in the family.
Yeah, very nice. And that leads in perfectly. So when you got on here, tell me about some of the projects that you got onto when you were out here.
Yeah, I had a few little parts. Theatre. I did some theatre initially. I produced a play that was, and I was in it as well. That was in the Hollywood Fringe Festival last year. That was
Oh,
great.
nice.
We won the award for Best of Fringe, and the
Nice.
writer, he won Best Writer, so that was great. Very proud of
Wow.
all involved. And then recently a movie of mine just came out called Cavemen, which was with Chad Michael Murray and Skylar Astin and Camilla Bell. That was
Nice.
a comedy. It was really great. A lot of fun on set was had, and the director was wonderful. Wonderful team. Everybody
Yeah.
was so lovely.
Wow.
So, and I'm still in touch with people from
With
that.
everyone there.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, how did that project come about? Did some just auditions? Did you happen to know
Yeah.
somebody there?
I had met a casting director, and he was the one casting that movie, and he pulled me in for that. And I
Wow.
auditioned actually for a different role. But once the director found out that, I was English and he loved the accent,
Yeah.
so he called me back in for the one that I ended up getting, which was opposite Chad. So that was great.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's how that one came about. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Was it meant for an English actress, or did he just like the accent? Thought it was
He just liked the accent and was just like, keep it.
that's great. Obviously, very American there.
Yeah.
Did you ever get asked if you are putting on the accent? Is just you're actually American putting on an English accent?
Once or twice I've been asked that, like, is that real?
Is that really right?
Yeah. And I always say, no, it's not. But,
Do you?
yeah, but I like whenever possible to keep my English accent. I'm extremely proud to be British.
You're
and
right. Sure.
So very proud of where I came from.
Very nice. I can't do any accent, so that's great.
Give it a try. Try the British.
I do a very bad Sean Connery, like everybody.
Oh,
but
yeah?
it's very bad. so do you? Talking about that, do you do other accents? Do you have an American accent, Australian and such?
I do. I often get asked if I'm Australian out here. Actually, that
Oh, do-
I think that people might mess that one up a little bit, but not very British. I do the American accent, but again, it's funny. Oftentimes in auditions, if I go in American and then start speaking English, they'll say they prefer the accent. So I've been lucky to keep it and be able to work with it.
Really?
Yeah.
You might give it a little go.
Oh, on the spot.
On the spot. Say a few lines from anything.
Gosh. Now you've made me think.
Now the vocal cords are
I
tense.
know they're tightening up. Where's my vocal coach?
It's like being in an audition. That sounds great, but can you do it in an
I
American
know,
accent?
that's the worst thing. I like to sit down and prep with my script and,
It's
yeah. Yeah, moving on.
That's great. You do. No, that's wonderful that that you can just be you, and that's perfect. You're perfect. Well, thank you very much. That must be uplifting. That
Yeah.
the director heard you and saw you and thought, yeah, you're perfect for the role.
It is, and I think that is a great thing, and I like to hold on to, what makes you you, what makes you different, and it's great when we get to be able to do that. And especially being here in LA, the accent, there are so many Brits here as well, but there are more Americans. So it
Yeah,
is that
right.
one thing that sets you apart. So I like to be able to hold on to it when I can.
So when you're around your friends from England, do you like? Well, you know what? I better go with my American friends because I stand out more there.
It is nice being told on a daily basis, like, oh my God, I love your accent. And it does like pump you up a bit. You're like, thanks.
You're like, thank you very much.
You don't get that in Brighton.
You're right. That's great. It's something unique, and unique for you.
Hmm. Yeah.
It helps you. And
It's really lovely to
Yeah.
hear such appreciation for where we came from and
right.
yeah, and the
That's
way I
very
speak.
nice. Now, would you? Does it matter if you are in films from England, or, British films, American films? Is it basically all the same?
My preference,
Yeah,
or
your preference.
all the same to me. I mean, I
Yeah.
would love to be involved in a British production because, as I
You can
say,
go home.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Get to go home, visit the mum. She'd love that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, yeah, all the same. I love all of it. I love the industry. Any chance I can act is a great one. I would like to be involved in British productions more, just to tap back into that, and because I am proud of that, and
Yeah.
I think England is doing fantastic things, with Sherlock and Downton Abbey, and they're just putting on such wonderful shows. It would be a joy to be involved.
Yeah. You think now, because the world's becoming so cosmopolitan, we're getting films from everywhere. You think that there is more opportunity since the world is more, open to films from basically everywhere? Do
Yeah.
you feel like you're not limited just to be in British movies
Yes,
or American?
definitely. I definitely feel that way. There is so much more opportunity, and there's such a great market now for foreign film as well. You know, that's doing so well, and documentaries are becoming bigger, and there's a lot more awareness, worldwide awareness that is happening, and I think that's fantastic. And as we were saying earlier, with the web becoming more popular, there's just so many more platforms for exposure. So you can tap into anything.
You know, you had mentioned earlier about a documentary. If you could, are there certain things that you would like to document, like the Colosseum, or
Well, I'm very
Stonehenge,
passionate about certain organisations that I that I would love to sort of raise more awareness on. At the beginning of this year, I actually made and produced a short film to raise awareness for the 1 Billion Rising campaign, which is founded by the playwright and activist Eve Ensler. It's part of V-Day, and it's to raise awareness on just violence towards women and what is going on worldwide with that. So I made this short film to kind of highlight that campaign and just the terrors that are still happening worldwide. And I think I would do a lot more with that to try and end violence towards women and for equal rights. And I'm on the committee for another organisation called Face Forwards, which is a non-profit organisation here in LA, where we provide facial reconstruction for women and children that have been victims of domestic or gang-related abuse. So I would love to do more around that. We actually have a gala coming up with Face Forward on September 13th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
very nice.
That's a big party that we're excited about, and British singer Estelle is going to be performing there. So hopefully people will come out to that and support us. I'm very passionate about India. My sister and I often talk about we've spent a few visits there, and we often talk about going back and wanting to make some form of a documentary. Not quite sure yet what we will focus on, there's just so much, but we've been over there and visited with animal sanctuaries and orphanages, so it'd be great to go back and really highlight some of these places there and what goes on, and to just open up the world's eyes to what else is out there. That's something I'm really passionate about.
You know, it's because I love just having conversations with different people, and women and rights and issues like that always come up. And my point of view is we're all the same.
Yeah, I agree.
It's male, female, but I always tell haven't you ever noticed that women are so strong?
Yes.
And I don't know, male insecurity, who knows?
Yeah.
But they have so many of these issues, but it seems like, modern civilization, more advanced societies kind of close their eyes.
They do.
To, developing nations, or even, people right in your own neighborhood, that are struggling. And have you ever kind of analyzed it to why that is? Is it, just blinders? We're stuck with our own lives, and
people, there's that old saying, ignorance is bliss. Sometimes people don't want to know what's going on because, if you do realize, you can feel guilty, and people, maybe they don't want to help out or can't or just aren't aware. I think that there isn't enough out there for people to, sometimes people just don't know where to go to how to learn about these things. And when, you tell people what's going on, I find that everybody that I speak to is very willing to listen, which is the wonderful thing. I mean, the short piece that I made had a fantastic reception from people just saying, I had no idea that this was happening, that this was still going on. So I think the best thing that we can all do is to just tell one person, and that person tells one person, and eventually everybody will know, and hopefully we can all join together and make a difference in the world, because it does just take one, and it does start with you. But it's tough. I do think about that, and the kind of mental illness, as it were, that kind of goes on, that there is such contrast between the huge houses and things in Bel Air, and then the homelessness that goes on the streets. And I just wish we could find a way to have a balance. There is enough to go around for everybody, and I do believe that a revolution is coming, and I think that a change is definitely necessary, and it is on the way.
The topic you bring up is, it's kind of a serious topic. Because, like I mentioned earlier, I love to read, American history, British history, French history, you know, the revolutions, the development of capitalism, you know, the exploitation of workers, the the development of, you know, nations, you know, where men and women are placed in societies, you know,
Yeah.
and because though again all these you know, those three I just mentioned, they're always on the cusp of developing.
Yeah.
One leapfrogs and then another leapfrogs and then one leads and such. And have you, you know, in like your documentary and, you know, your conversations, do you try to find links between, you know, these modern nations versus the developing nations, the differences of, you know, how they treat their women? You know, you look at developing nations, they have tons of children,
Yeah.
and, you know, they may or may not be married, and developed nations are married, maybe have one or two children, and but even that's changing now. Now they're not even having children, and they're not
Yeah.
even being married. You know, do you dive into that? Have you delved into that in your conversations and readings or anything?
Yeah, I do often look into what goes on in other places, especially just the state of female justice worldwide.
Yeah.
I always try and look into that. You know, the one thing that strikes me the most when I do hear about people that places in, you know, in Africa or somewhere, or in India, and these people that go through so much worse than I could even imagine, these horror stories. It's just the joy that they still manage to find out of life is
Yes.
the one thing that it's just a mystery to me, how they can go through such awful things sometimes and they still tap into some joy, and they find such release in dancing. That's one thing of the 1 Billion Rising movement, is
Yes.
that they call for people across the world on February 14th to come together and dance, and to
Yes.
just express your love for women and for the planet by dancing. And that's where so many people
Yes.
do find relief. There is a place in the Congo, the City of Joy, that Eve Ensler has set up with some people over there, and it's a safe place that women can go to.
Nice.
You know, the one thing that they do there is dancing, and
Yeah.
she talks about that as well, about how these women, you know, they can just come together and in celebration of who they are, because you're not defined by who you are, and that's such a great thing to learn from these people, is, you know, you are not a victim of what you are. You know, you can
Right.
you can learn from it, you can grow, and they celebrate that, and that's
Yeah.
a wonderful thing that I would love to explore more of, and
Yes.
see if we can all bring that joy into
Yeah.
whatever situation we're facing. There is always a chance to reach for the happiness, and the world would be a better place if we can all find that.
Absolutely. You know, it's, you know, when you know, being from Britain, your schooling is pretty much like ours. You know, you go through schooling and you get taught.
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
You're presented, you know, different individuals.
Mhm.
You know, was there someone that stood out for you, like in the female movement? Like we have over here, we have, you know, Susan B. Anthony. You know, we have Eleanor Roosevelt. You know, all these Mary Carey, who you know, made great strides to
Yeah.
bring equality. Were there some women like that stood out for you in you know, as you were going through schooling or in your readings?
In my readings, you know, my sister has been a wonderful influence into introducing me into a lot of
Nice.
people,
Yeah.
and she introduced me to the works of Maya Angelou. So
Oh, nice.
that's definitely somebody now that
Yeah.
that I hugely admired.
Yes.
All through university, Eve Ensler, as soon as I first read
Nice.
the Vagina Monologues, and I
Yes.
performed that when I was at university last year.
That's right.
And I performed one of the pieces for my final exam, and
Yes.
the more I read about, you know, once I read the Vagina Monologues, I was like, this is fantastic. What's this about? And the more I read about her and everything she stood for, and this V-Day organization that she created, it was then that I started to look into things, and you know, and other actors that I just admire and the work that they do. You
Yeah.
know, Audrey Hepburn, it's fantastic for that.
Right.
Angelina Jolie does remarkable things.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of Jane Goodall, who is, you know, the
Oh, yes, of course.
actress.
Yes.
She's wonderful. Amanda de Cadenet is a woman who's now, she has a show on, and she speaks such great truths about women and and you know, feminism and where we are and what we can do, and all these women are people that I take a lot of influence from.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Strong females.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You know, we just got a few more minutes, Gary. Do want to give you a chance to, mention some of your websites and social media, and it's wonderful. You're so socially minded, and so ready to defend the defenseless.
Thank you.
That's wonderful to see, because again, my own philosophy is it doesn't matter to me. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
And I always have a little saying where it's like, it doesn't matter if you're black or white, gay or straight, male or female, able, disabled. A putz is a putz.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter. You find the good guys and the bad guys, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And just because we're similar doesn't mean you're nice. Male, female, we're still the human species.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We are all connected, and
Yeah.
we need to appreciate that a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And be there for each other.
Well, I appreciate women.
Thank
And
you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me
Yeah, absolutely. I
today.
appreciate my guests. I appreciate everybody. But want to give you a chance. Social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that.
Yeah,
Where we can
my
find you.
website is just www.kerrybethan.com. CERIBETHAN. It's the Welsh spelling.
Yeah, nice.
So, and my Twitter is just Kerry_Bethan, same as Instagram, and my Facebook is just facebook.com/Kerry Bethan. All very simple.
Perfect. Wonderful. And also want to give a great shout out to Liz Rodriguez.
Yes.
Great friend of the End Show.
Yes. My
So-
fantastic publicist and friend.
Absolutely. And I know you're going to be at the Burbank Film Festival.
Yes.
Your
Yes, we
movie
are.
screening there.
Friday night, so that's Friday the 5th at 7 p.m. We will be screening Chasing the Past 7 p.m. And we are nominated for Best Science Fiction, which is a huge
fantastic.
honour. So I will be there along with some of the other cast, and our director, Jonathan Slemmy, will be there too.
Beautiful.
So come and see us.
Wonderful. Absolutely. I will be there. Again, Carrie, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so
and
much for having me. It's been great.
My pleasure, and look forward to seeing all your wonderful projects in the future.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, well, this is Gus Summers, and you've been listening to The In Show. We had in-studio guest, Miss Kerry Bethan. And I practice that, too. And, of course, you can visit her on all those great social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And, of course, you can visit us at theinshow.com, where you'll be able to hear this interview and see everything else that we've done and will be doing. Of course, visit us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, and all those great social media sites. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.